Yes, Chair Gutierrez,
Here.
Vice Chair Hogan, Commissioner Clow,
Here.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Here.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes.
Commissioner Satania is, Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Moving on to Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Pava, you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, most certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands and its Constitution, one nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Any changes from staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The first case, the first project, I should say, case number 2021-4377, 2021-4378, 2021-4379, 2021-4381, Caja del Oro Subdivision General Plan Amendment, Subdivision Rezoning, Preliminary Development Plan, and Preliminary Subdivision Plan. The applicant has requested postponement to further address code requirements, and they request postponement to the next, to the February 3rd Planning Commission.
Thank you. Any changes from the commission?
Motion to approve, Commissioner Faulkner.
Second, Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you. And that'd be as amended. If we can have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes,
and Chair Gutierrez.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion has been approved.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of minutes for the December 2nd, 2021. Any changes from staff?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any changes from the commission?
Commissioner Faulkner to approve.
Commissioner Lawrence, second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. If we can get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Clow,
I'll abstain. I wasn't present.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
yes,
Chair Gutierrez.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a four, I guess, 0 vote. So Attorney Fagali, would that count as a passing of the motion?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Then the motion has been approved.
Perfect. Thank you. Moving on, there's no findings, no old business. Anybody in the audience for the Caja de Oro subdivision cases that has been postponed to the February 3rd meeting. So we will be moving on to case 2021-4550, 6421 and 6423 Airport Road, Esplenda Village Development Plan Amendment. Ms. Wynant, this is your case.
Dan, I believe she needs to be led into the panelist.
There you go. Okay. Greetings, everyone. So let's see if I can get my screen here. Okay, is that up on everybody's screen there?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Let's see. Hold on a second here. Okay, yes, this first case this evening is case 2021-4550, which is 6421 and 6423 Airport Road, Esplanade Village Development Plan Amendment. Mistwood Associates Architects LLC, which is the agent for Esplanade Development LLC, the owner, requests approval of a development plan amendment for a 9,000 square foot commercial addition at 6421 and 6423 Airport Road. The properties are zoned SC1, which is a neighborhood shopping district, and they're within the Airport Road Overlay District. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve this case with conditions of approval as outlined in this report. Two motions will be required in this case: approval or denial of the development plan amendment for case number 2021-4550, subject to the required general findings and subject to the conditions of approval and technical corrections recommended by staff in section 2 and exhibit B of the staff report. Approve or amend the findings of fact and conclusions of law for case number 2021-4550 as shown in exhibit A of this report. There's only one condition of approval from our DRT on this, and that is regarding bike parking or bike racks. The development plan approval criteria, staff found that these criteria were met. There are 3 of those in the report. So the expiration of this case, if should you decide to approve this case this evening, is January 6th. That gives them 3 years from the time of final action. If you make that decision this evening, so January 6th, 2025 will be their expiration date. So with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wannett. Is the applicant here? Do you have a presentation for us?
I am here. I was kind of expecting my clients to be here also, but I guess they're busy with other things. So as Donna described, this is.
I will need to go ahead and swear you in.
Oh.
Swear you in. Do you
And Donna-
swear? Do
I'm
you
sorry.
swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Paul Mifsud, 557 Oñate Place, Santa Fe.
Thank you.
Yeah, so AutoZone existed in this subdivision before the original development plan was applied for and obtained back in 2009. My firm was involved in that development plan originally, and that was the only business there, and they're ready to expand. So they're trying to purchase the lot next door, lot 1, and expand into that. The purpose of the expansion is not to increase the retail space, but to create a hub store, as they call it, which is basically warehouse, to supply auto parts to local mechanics and other AutoZone stores in Santa Fe, as well as delivering to people like an Amazon kind of deal. So it's not adding, it won't be public access. The entire addition is going to be warehouse with a few employees, and it won't be adding to the retail space or traffic or in any way. But they are adding additional parking spaces over and above what's required. I don't really know what else to say about it. That's about it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody from the public that would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand. We have 2 call-ins. If I remember from correct, *9 will get you in.
Mr. Chair, I do not see any hands raised to this day.
Going once on this case, Airport Road. Going twice. Seeing none, we will close the public portion of it and open up to the commission. commissioners? We see no hands from commissioners. Donna, I do have a question about the airport road overlay. It does apply to this new building, or is it?
Chair Gutierrez and fellow commissioners, yes, it does. And as much as we can make it apply, there is a mention in chapter 14 in this section of the code for overlays for the airport road overlay that for applicability, it doesn't apply as much to additions, existing buildings and additions. This is an existing building. They're proposing an addition. And I don't have the language right in front of me right now, but basically it says that as much as you can make it adhere to that, according to the land use director, decision. So essentially what they've done is they have, as the applicant has stated, that they're putting an addition onto the building. One of the things that it just simply couldn't comply with, one of the big things is for them to not have the double loaded kind of parking in the front. I think with the airport overlay, there was several types of things in place to make it look a little bit more unique than a kind of a commercial strip all the way down Airport Road. There was several kinds of things that pertained to making sure that loading areas were to the side or rear of a building, that there was landscaping as we require anyway. There was a requirement for there being pretty much direct pedestrian access to the development. I think that they do have that. One of the things that I think we'd like to see is that they have another sidewalk to the development. And they have a right out kind of a thing in this with this site. So there's some opportunity to get a little bit better direct access with pedestrian access straight into the building. Of course, you can see where it is from the intersection at Airport and Paseo del Sol, but you get further down west on the site, it'd be nice if there'd be a more direct entrance. So essentially, when we reviewed the overlay conditions, I didn't go through them point by point, but they again, they have an existing building with an addition. I think that they, for the most part, with architecture and the layout and how they've presented their proposal is adhering to the overlay standards as much as they can.
Is there any illustration that either you or Mr. Misfed can put up just to show
Let's see if I can.
the people that are watching along with us?
Okay, let's see. Let's see. If you can see my screen. Dan, do you, is that? Let's see, hopefully I can set up on everybody's screen. It's just a basic site plan of
Yeah,
AutoZone.
you're up and running.
Okay, yeah, this is a bit faint. Sorry about that, but if I could just point this out, this is Airport Road and this is Paseo del Sol at the intersection, the light. And you have like the new McDonald's over here. And the stretch of this development is several properties. It was at one time when first developed, it was one shopping center. And then the proposal was to subdivide it because people did not want to be without their own fee simple kind of their own lot to sit on, and they have joint parking arrangements in between. If I bring that up, I will. But essentially, this is the proposal, the existing building here with their existing parking. You can see it's double loaded here. You come in from the Paseo del Sol that extends up here beyond the traffic light. And so you have this amount of parking. Forget how many spaces that is, but it has plenty of parking. This is the new parking here. So this right here, there was an attempt with this overlay to try to make it a little bit more unique for the Airport Road to have the buildings closer up to the street. I think there even was at one point discussion on staff, hey, how can we do things really different and not have all this parking in the front, maybe just allow them to have a single kind of a lineup of parking. So you see that at some of the new buildings that are being done along Airport Road, but this is existing. This is proposed here. It comes to you this evening because it requires a development plan because of the square footage. Let's see, I believe that's 9,000 square foot addition there. And they have their loading back here at per the usual, and it extends a little bit further there behind the existing building. As Paul said, this is a hub. As the applicant said, this is the a hub store. So it's basically still retail. You just have more space to put parts and supplies on shelves. And so they have a number of vans that will stand ready to deliver those to people, probably as they're stranded in their driveways or on the road somewhere. They just call and they'll deliver. So it's I don't know how unique that is. I don't know. There's probably some other businesses that might do that, but that's essentially the essence of the proposal. Let's see if I can.
Is there, that kind of shows them, but is there anything you have for on the entrance, on the westernmost entrance? Right now it's dangerous, and when people miss the
Okay.
lighted entrance, and that one is a right turnout only, it causes trouble on Airport Road. So is that been addressed?
You're talking about, okay, can you see this here? This is the zoning map.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, all right, so. This intersection here with the traffic light, it was adjusted some, and I'm not sure what all the issues are that you're,
If you go to the exit of, which is kind of by the yellow arrow right now.
Okay, okay, yeah.
That's a problem right there.
Here's a Google Earth shot I did. It comes from the different angle of the looking west, bird's eye view down towards the existing scenario
Right.
situation. So you're
Right
probably
over
talking
here.
about this right here?
Yes, because that's a ride out only exit.
Yes.
If people miss the light to get into the actual place, they try and go in through there, and it's a
Oh,
safety hazard at this point. I've seen accidents and things happen right
okay.
there. So I think that's something that, if it has not been addressed, needs to be addressed.
Okay, thank you for pointing that out, Chair. I think, with this median here, it at least closes that off. So if people are going in there, they're coming all the way here and then turning down this, going head on to this traffic here and then down here. Is that what you're saying is happening?
If they're headed west down Airport Road and they pass the McDonald's and they pass the entrance to
Oh, I
AutoZone,
see.
they're
Okay.
trying to get into the AutoZone.
And then they
And
go
that's
right.
designed as a ride out only, but they're
Okay.
still jumping the curb to try and get into the facility and slowing down abruptly, and it turns into headaches and accidents. So with this new renovation, I think that's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Thank you for pointing that out, Chair.
This is Paul Minson again. As I recall, that was required by fire and trash in order so that they, wouldn't have to turn around, so that they'd be able to go in and then get out. And the city traffic engineer was, required it to be a right out only and no left turn in. And that's the history of it from 2009.
Right here.
Yes, okay. Well,
It's here, it is right here. What you're talking about,
Yes.
excuse me.
yeah, you can see they jumped the curb right where your little hand is, and try and get in there. And it makes for unsafe conditions. So I just want that pointed out for the record.
I appreciate that, Chair, and I will make a note of it, and then when we review this for the development plan, when it goes through the, through the development review team, the DRT, I don't know, maybe there could be an exit only sign there and maybe some other kind of something that would somehow physically discourage that more, but,
Yeah, if it could be addressed, I just want to bring it to the
Okay.
attention that it needs.
Okay,
to
sure,
be.
thank you.
Thank you. If you'll take down the screen sharing so I can see if anybody
Okay,
Other commissioners have questions?
thank you.
Thank you. I do see one hand up in the attendee room. And it's a call-in. Dan, let me reopen the public hearing real quick just to make sure that this isn't for this case. And if it is, let him speak since it's a call-in, if you would, please.
Okay, Mr. Chair, this is for the phone number ending in 4950. You will have to unmute your phone to speak.
Good evening. Are you calling in on this case that we're discussing right now?
And I think it was the other phone number.
They're both talking.
Yeah, pardon me, they're both here. Yeah.
Star 9 on the telephone. Try star 9 and that should unmute you. So we have one that's unmuted successfully, but the one with the hand up is not unmuted just yet. Star 9. Dan, what's that other number end in?
We have a phone number in 8043. That is with the hand. 4950 does not have their hand up.
8043. If you want to speak, press star 9 and that'll unmute you so we can. Okay, we're not having very much success. I'm going to close the public hearing again and turn it over to the commission. Commissioner Pava, you have the floor. And you're muted if you're already speaking.
Probably better that way to keep me muted, but all right. Playing on this discussion regarding the right turn only and your obvious familiarity with the situation there. I drove by the other day. I failed to notice if there was a sign that, or could be a sign that would be allowed on the corner as you're coming toward the business, prominently displaying where the entrance to the business is. I've seen this in other places around town. Maybe this is a part of the solution if it's not already there. Maybe it has to be in larger.
Yes, good point. Any other commissioners? And if there's none, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve case number 2021-4545. Commissioner Faulkner.
Commissioner Clow seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If we can get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Excuse me, I believe you meant case 2021-4550.
Oh, yes, 4550. Yes, sorry.
You could amend that, please.
All right, motion to approve case number 2021-4550.
Okay, you want me to take roll call again, but it was approved.
Yeah, if you could just amend it in the minutes, please.
Yes, I will. The motion was approved for case number 2021-4550.
Thank you. And we have findings.
Motion to approve findings and facts for case number 2021-4550. Commissioner Faulkner.
Commissioner Clow seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If we can get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you. Moving on to case 2021-4545. 5, Alexander Estates subdivision, final development. We also have case 2021-4546, Alexander Estates final subdivision plat. Ms. Wynant?
Yes, thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Let's see, so do my shared screen here. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I had a bunch of things open here, so now I'm trying to find my way here. Dan, do you have that shared function up for me, or?
You're able to share. You just need to click the share screen.
Okay. I'm gonna find that here. Okay, sorry. Ah, there you go. It was hiding on me. Okay, so right. Okay. Okay, so that's probably not anything that you have on your screen right now, right? Or is that?
You can see it.
You do see it?
Yes.
All right, sorry, I'm slow on the uptake here. Okay, so, okay, thank you for your patience. Case number 2021-4545, which is Alexander Estates subdivision final development plan. Montoya Land Use Consulting Agent, Next Generation Contracting, Inc., who is the owner, requests final development plan approval for a subdivision of 59 single-family residential lots on approximately 8.38 acres. The property is zoned R7, which is residential, 7 dwelling units per acre. And it's located on the east side of Kate's Way, north of South Meadows Road.
Donna, can you hit Control L?
Yeah, I did that. It's not on the screen. Okay. Is that there?
No, just go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. It says screen sharing is paused for some reason. Should I, let's see.
You're good.
Okay. All right. So the full motions will be required in this case. Approve or deny the final development plan for case number 2021-4545, subject to the conditions of approval and technical corrections recommended by staff. Approve or deny the final subdivision plat for case 2021-4546, subject to the conditions of approval and technical corrections recommended by staff. Approve or amend the findings of fact and conclusions of law for case number 2021-4545 as proposed in Exhibit A. And approve or amend the findings of fact, conclusions of law for case 2021-4546 as proposed in Exhibit A. There are 4 conditions of approval with this case. Some of these, let's see, I don't know if I really want to focus too much on these, but we typically get the homeowner's documents for review and dedication of Alexander Drive to the city for public use. In reviewing the final development plan approval criteria, staff found that those 3 criteria have been met. And the final subdivision plat approval criteria, those 5 criteria have been met. And the expiration of this, again, 3 years after final action, if this is it for this evening, your decision for approval, that would give them till January 6th as their expiration date. With that, I'll stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wynant. Good evening, Ms. Montoya. Welcome. You have a presentation for us?
Good evening, Chairman Gutierrez and Planning Commission members.
Monica, let me go ahead and swear you in, please. Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Monica Montoya, 726 Gregory Lane, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87505.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Gutierrez and members of the Planning Commission. I'm here this evening with the project engineer, civil engineer Orlin Guerrero Ortiz, and the project traffic engineer Bert Thomas from Bohannon, Houston. I would like to give you a brief presentation on where the project is right now, where it has been, and answer any questions for you after that. So I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, folks, everyone can see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay, this is, as Donna said, Alexander Estates subdivision, and we are here this evening before you folks for final plat and development plan. Today is Thursday, January the 6th, 2022. Very briefly, I'll go over the project for you just to refresh your memory about it. I'll readdress where it's located in the city. I'll go over the final subdivision design as it stands today. I'll go over the architectural design, and then I'll stand for questions if that's okay with the chair and the commissioners. So the project, Alexander Estates, is a single-family residential subdivision with fee simple lots and individual homes. It consists of 59 lots total on 8.4 acres of land. It has a 12-unit affordable homes element to it. It provides individual ownership for folks, and it offers custom quality homes. I'll go over the project location now. The project is, as I said earlier, and Donna said earlier, 8.4 acres of vacant land to the north of South Meadows Road. It's bounded on the west by Kate's Way, on the east by the El Camino Real Academy, and on the north by the New Mexico 599, the Veterans Memorial Highway. And there's a small parcel of land that we do not own between our tract and South Meadows Road. This blue here is the Santa Fe River. South Meadows connects to Agua Fria, excuse me, to the south of the project. This area right here is the Cottonwood Village. Sorry about that. This is an aerial photograph that will show a little bit better where things lie in relation to the property. So this long sliver here is the 8.4 acres of vacant land that is the Alexander Estates subdivision. The Cottonwood Village is this dense area here. This vacant land is partially residential, but mostly vacant to the west of us. The El Camino Real Academy here. You can see the football field on the north side of there. The New Mexico 599, and then South Meadows Road, right in this kind of east, west, north, south direction. This parcel here I will point out to you because there is part of the project access that will affect this parcel right here. This is 30 acres of land, which is owned by the state of New Mexico, but leased by the city of Santa Fe, long-term lease by the city of Santa Fe. And according to the lease documents, it's intended for economic development purposes for the city of Santa Fe to develop at some point. This right up here, and I have a better map later on in the presentation, but this is the location of a proposed city fire station. And I'll have a better plan for that in a little bit. Okay, so subdivision design. This is just a kind of a blow up of that 8.4 acres of land. And this drawing intends to show you the layout of the subdivision of the 59 lots within the subdivision. It has a loop to this loop here is designed to access 2 rows of lots. On the east side of that loop, we're going to call that Alexander Road. This is Kate's Way here that goes up to South Meadows Road. And this will be the access to this row of homes right here, the front access to it. Kate's Way presently serves as an access to these vacant and partially developed residential lots right here as well as Sangre Azul, the main access to a residential subdivision to the west of our project on the west side of Kate's Way. There will be 2 access points to the subdivision, if you may recall. One is the Kate's Way as one access, and a secondary access from the north end of the subdivision, northeast end of the subdivision, through a small corner of the Santa Fe Schools property, and through the 30 acres, which is owned by the state of New Mexico and leased by the city of Santa Fe. This road will be dedicated to the city of Santa Fe for its use in its efforts to develop this 30 acres of property for economic development purposes. So this right up here, this is going to be the connection. We're building this road here to connect to an existing road, which leads to an existing roundabout, the existing South Meadows Road roundabout. And I'll show that to you a little bit better on the next slide. Now, this was a drawing I did just to show you, the commissioners, what's existing and what's proposed. So this right up here on the up right corner of my screen is the existing South Meadows Road roundabout. And so that roundabout accesses the Alameda Frontage Road. It accesses New Mexico 599. It accesses Alameda to the east. This red line here, it tends to show how the road will connect to the existing developed road on the West Alameda frontage, and then go all the way along the New Mexico 599, parallel the New Mexico 599, go through a small corner of the Santa Fe Public Schools property, and then connect to the northeast corner of the Alexander Estates subdivision. We do already have in possession easement agreements with the Santa Fe Public Schools and with the state of New Mexico. And we have easements from both of them, and our intent is to build the road and dedicate it to the city of Santa Fe for its use. So as Donna mentioned previously, there are some staff conditions attached to the design of the project. We've worked extensively with all of your development review team staff throughout the design process. We've made some revisions to the original plans specifically for the city's benefit. One specifically, we modified the right-of-way design along the New Mexico 599 to accommodate a 10-foot wide pedestrian trail, and that will be constructed with asphalt. We also modified our design to add a sidewalk connection from the southwest corner of South Meadows Road to our project. We will be extending utilities to one neighbor on the west side of Kate's Way to her property. And then we will take care of any of red line corrections that your staff has gone over with us. So just to show you what that design is going to look like, this section here pertains to what the road we will be building parallel to New Mexico 599 and in the city of Santa Fe's leased area. You can see here, we've added a 10-foot multi-use asphalt path, which can be used for pedestrian, for bikes, for just about any type of way to get folks through the property for entertainment purposes. It'll have a 5-foot planter, it'll have curb and gutter, it'll have 2 10-foot driving lanes and a 7-foot shoulder. This is a blow up of our plan, our subdivision plan, to show the commission how we will make a connection from the southwest corner of the subdivision with a sidewalk connecting to the existing sidewalk network system off of South Meadows Road. And by the way, both of the designs from Alexander Way, which is the connection through the city property, and the connection on the south that I just showed you were requests by your MPO staff for recreation. And so now I'll briefly go over with you the architecture. This will be somewhat redundant. You guys have seen this before, but if you'll indulge me for just a moment, I'd like to just show you what Next Generation Contracting Inc., who is my client, the type of quality work that they do in the city. You can expect the same here in this subdivision. In what I'll be showing you is the architecture that they do, and you won't be able to tell the difference between their homes, the market homes, and their affordable housing homes. So this is a home that they've built recently in the county, and this intends to show the type of quality, the architecture. It's got a lot of depth and shades and wall step backs to create depth and shade. It's quite an attractive building, in my opinion. This is another home that they've built in the area of Rufina Street and east of, or that would be west of Zeppel Road. Can expect the same quality in the Alexander Estate subdivision, clay tile roofs, recessed windows, nice character. This is a picture of looking down the street of one of their existing subdivisions. So this is what you can expect to see in Alexander Estates. And with that, sorry for the long presentation. I'll stand for any questions. Or sit.
Thank you, Ms. Montoya. If you'll take down screen sharing for us, I can. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here from the public that would like to testify on this case, please raise your hand.
I see no hands raised, Mr. Chair.
Anybody from the public that would like to testify on this case? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing portion of this case and turn it over to the commission. Commissioner Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Montoya, I wanted to ask a little bit more about that pedestrian trail along the road you're building along 599. I was really happy to hear you mention that. I was wondering if there was going to be any pedestrian or bike access along that route. I was wondering, you said that that is connecting to a piece of road that is connecting to the roundabout. Is the pedestrian trail going to stub out, or does it connect to anything existing? What happens as it nears the end of what you're building and gets closer to the roundabout area?
Well, our design will connect to the existing road and sidewalk network. It is the intended to do that, so that there won't be a disruption in the design. It'll be a continuation of that design, and where modifications need to be made, if modifications need to be made, it is intended it will connect.
So there is existing sidewalk there and you'll work to connect into that. Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I have no other questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Lawrence. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Pava.
I learned how to mute,
Perfect. We can hear you loud and clear.
fortunately. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question perhaps for Ms. Montoya regarding the range and the price range of the general range. I know it might be premature, but have you some idea of what these single family residences will go on the market for? What is your target?
Yeah, it would be difficult for me to commit to that. What I do know is that they will be market homes. But what I can tell you is that this contractor does tend to be a little lower in price range than your average home, just because they're just good people. They're good, but they have not decided on a price yet, a price range as of yet.
No, considering thank you.
It will be a market. It will be a market subdivision.
Considering today's headlines in New Mexico, which I'm sure some of my fellow commissioners read, that the median, meaning half above and half below, the median price in the city of Santa Fe, which is lower than in the county, is now $535,000 for a single family. Now, of course, there are condominiums and townhouses and whatnot, others. So I'm encouraged to see that with this density and the experience of the developer, perhaps we'll see something below that. Unfortunately, what I'm looking at is I see the average household income in Santa Fe right now is holding around the low 60s. You'd need $87,000 in your of household income to qualify for a $500,000 house, $100,000 down. So I hope that some of the product you're building, aside from the affordables, might be below that price point.
Yes. Yes, what I can say is that it will be slightly below the market, but I can't commit to a price this evening. That would be impossible.
Thank you. I just wanted to state those facts for the record. I'm sorry if it was more rhetoric than a question.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, the other thing that I noticed, and my fellow commissioners, are when you look at these aerials, of course, these are old aerials. If you go onto the most recent aerials, you'll see the mega apartment complex under construction, the 10 buildings, I guess it's to the north and east of the school. This area is going to be heavily developed, so I'm encouraged to see that there will be some provision for alternate access and also the bicycle pedestrian needs. And depending what happens with that last parcel for economic development, it'll be real interesting to see how this whole area develops. But we as a commission need to make sure that there's provision for bicycle and pedestrian, safe bicycle, pedestrian, and safe routes to school. Because I'm sure that the apartments, these homes will provide students that will go to the academy, and they don't need to be shuffled.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Pava. Is there anything else, or? No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya, real quick, I don't think Commissioner Pava was with us the first time. Can you just tell him how many of the homes in that subdivision will be affordable?
Sure. Yes, Mr. Chairman, Gutierrez, Commissioner Pava, there will be a 12-unit affordable component to this subdivision.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? I spoke with staff and I asked for this every time something comes up in this area, traffic's talked about a lot, and we know that there's some improvements that are slated to happen for Agua Fria and South Meadows, which is also a problem. So I asked if we could get an update. So Mr. Esquivel, do you have somebody that can tell the commission what's in the works for that area?
Mr. Chair, both Leroy Pacheco and Audra from Wilson Company are on standby. If you'd like them to come online and answer those questions.
Yes, please, whoever's better versed to just give us an update on what's happening on Agua Fria and South Meadows.
Just give them a second to log in, probably.
Well, they're logging in. Commissioner Pava, I think you hit the nail on the head about the development in a heavy development area. As you drive by there now, you see on the other side of the road that development has started there also. And with this being in a location so close to the schools, I think it's of utmost important that we take traffic serious and the safety also. Director Klug.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may, while we're waiting as well, so I had the distinction of being the project manager for Fire Station 2 that was referred to earlier by Ms. Montoya. That's at the corner of the leased property closest to the roundabout, and that is already, the design on that is complete. So Ms. Montoya and Ms. Ortiz, just I'd ask you to make sure that you're coordinating with San Burnett with facilities to make sure that the design of the fire station frontage and the design of the new roadway and 10-foot wide pedestrian path is being coordinated. I think we had a fairly wide berth there, but there are utilities, et cetera, that will need to be contended with, and we just want to make sure that they're designed properly so that they're not in the path. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Audra from Wilson and Company is online.
Thank you. Ms. Byers, does she need to be sworn in?
Is she a city employee?
She's
or
for the city.
Okay, she does need to be sworn in. Ms. Gallegos, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. Could you please unmute yourself? Okay, do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
She's not muted from our end.
Mr. Esquivel, is Mr. Pacheco with us?
He is. I've been trying to bring him up as a panelist. I'll just allow him to talk. Maybe that'll work.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Leroy Pacheco.
Welcome.
Hi,
Mr.
Leroy, are you a city employee still or a contractor?
I'm a contractor.
Okay, I will go
yeah.
ahead and swear you in then. Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Leroy Pacheco, 313 Lomita.
Thank you.
Santa Fe. Sure. I just got a text from Audra. She's having microphone issues.
No problem. Were you able to hear what I asked? Just an update as far as what's happening with traffic in the areas, Agua Fria and South Meadows, and anything else that is in the works for South Meadows with all the development that's taking place and the school being in that area?
Yes, there's a signal upgrade at, let me see, I'm trying to keep, there's two projects going on, one at Agua Fria South Meadows. I believe that's a roundabout upgrade. And then there's Agua Fria, let me see, Cottonwood. Unfortunately, was a little bit unprepared, but we have two major city projects in development, in final design that should be improving, transportation in those two intersections, Agua Fria and South Meadows and Agua Fria Cottonwood. I'm not directly involved in managing those projects, but I am aware of those, and I think they're on the public record when this project went to the governing body.
Okay, I was just trying to get an update for myself and other commissioners, because it seems like we do talk a lot about it when projects in this area come up, but they are in final design as far as you know, which means shovel ready in 6 months, 9 months?
I have an email from the Public Works Director November 3rd that I'm reading regarding Agua Fria South Meadows. Let's see what she says. Agua Fria South Meadows project. Apparently, it went to Public Works for funding back in November. And let's see what staff stated about this. Let me see. This is a Romela Gloriosa Mas project. And so South Meadows is the let's see, Agua Fria Cottonwood. Let me jump to that one really quickly. This one's being run by Tom Graham. 90% plans I'll be receiving soon. This was a long time ago. So I think that's a Santa Fe engineering design. And I guess just for the record, yes, these are in final design, moving forward toward construction, towards funding and budgeting, and they'd have to go through the process to get those into the construction.
Okay.
And if you'd like, I can actually get a written document from Public Works for the record post meeting, if that's helpful.
If we need one, we'll get with you. I just wanted to hear that something was happening. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Commissioners? Mr. Lawrence?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion if I can.
Yes, please.
I will make a motion to approve the final development plan for case 2021-4545 and to approve the final subdivision plat for case 2021-4546, subject to the conditions of approval and technical corrections recommended by staff.
Thank you.
Commissioner Faulkner to second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Lawrence and a second by Commissioner Faulkner. If we can get a roll call, please.
Yes, Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes,
Chair Gutierrez.
Yes,
The motion has been approved.
thank you.
And Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to approve the findings of fact and conclusions of law for cases 2021-4545 and 2021-4546.
Commissioner Faulkner to second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Lawrence, a second by Commissioner Faulkner. If we can get a roll call, please.
Yes, Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes,
Chair Gutierrez.
Yes,
The motion has been approved.
thank you so much. Moving on, our next case is case number 2021-4548 and 2021-4549, Plaza del Monte Final Development Plan and Plaza del Monte Final Subdivision. Mr. Alvarado is the case planner on this.
That's right. Hello, thank you, Chair Gutierrez. My name is Daniel Alvarado. I'm a new senior planner with the Land Use Department. If I didn't meet you guys before the meeting. This is my first case before the Planning Commission, so it's I'm happy to finally be here and meet everybody. This one should be pretty straightforward. You've seen it before. It's a dual case for the final development plan and final subdivision of Plaza del Monte, a proposed conversion of a 37-unit rental complex into a 30 lot single-family residential subdivision. These cases are familiar with, to you from the Planning Commission meeting on November 4th, in which Lee Logston presented the preliminary development plan as well as the preliminary subdivision plan, which were both approved at the November 4th meeting. Since then, Lee has given the case over to me as he moves to a new position within the city. So I'm going to take the case through this final development and final subdivision approval. So the first case is 4548, the final development plan. The applicant agent Jenkins Gavin requests approval for a final development plan to establish development standards for 30 residential lots. The development plan, as you'll remember from that November 4th meeting, is essentially to establish custom setbacks to reflect what the existing conditions are on the ground. The second case, 4549, the final subdivision, is the approval of the subdivision of 30 residential lots. The property is zoned R29, is located within the downtown and east side historic district and is approximately 6.26 acres. So Jenkins Gavin is here to present the project once again. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the project, but I will say that staff does recommend the approval of both the final development plan and final subdivision, subject to the 3 conditions listed in my staff report. And just as a reminder, there is going to be 4 motions for this case. There's the approval of the final development plan, the approval of the final subdivision, and approval of finding of facts and conclusions of law for both cases. So with that, I'll hand it over to Jennifer Jenkins, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarado. Ms. Jenkins?
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. I'm ready to be sworn in.
Thank you. Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jennifer Jenkins, 130 Grant Avenue, Suite 101, Santa Fe 87501.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Jenkins with Jenkins Gavin here on behalf of Plaza del Monte LLC in request for final development plan and final plat approval. As Daniel mentioned, you've already seen the application. We did receive preliminary plat approval late last year, along with a preliminary development plan. I do have a presentation, but that is completely up to the commission if you would like me to walk through the specifics. I don't recall if everyone who's present tonight was also present during the preliminary review. I'd be happy to go through the presentation, or I'd be happy also just to stand for any questions.
Commissioner Pava, I don't think you were with us on the preliminary. Would you like to see the presentation?
I'm pretty sure that was Commissioner Pava's first night. Actually, I was just reviewing the recording.
Okay, he was with us. My bad, I'm sorry. Commissioners, presentation or stand for questions? Okay, it looks like stand for questions. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here from the public that would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand. We did have one hand go up, but Mr. Gallegos. And then it went down. Anybody on this case that would like to speak, please raise your hand. I don't see a hand. Oh, okay, I do. Nicole Dante.
And she just needs to unmute herself.
Could we see the presentation?
Yes, absolutely. Ms. Jenkins, if you would, please.
I will share my screen. So as I mentioned, I'm here this evening on behalf of Plaza Del Monte LLC. My firm Jenkins Gavin are the land planners on the project. Engineering services provided by Santa Fe Engineering, surveying by Armijo Surveying, and of course Daniel is our case manager. This is the location of the subject property. It is near the downtown, just north of Paseo de Peralta. It has 2 access points from Bishop's Lodge Road as well as from Old Taos Highway. It is an existing residential project with a collection of detached casitas and duplexes and fourplexes that is currently a multifamily rental project in Santa Fe. As Daniel mentioned, the property is zoned R29, 29 dwellings per acre, as you can see here. And this is an aerial of the site and shows, there is some floodplain with the Arroyo Mascaras that moves adjacent to the property on the west. There's existing public water line that serves the property. The property is also served with on-site private sewer. These are the existing structures on the 6.6 acre parcel. As I mentioned, primarily detached homes, but there are a couple of duplexes and there are 3 fourplexes. There's a garage structure here that will be demolished. The demolition of that structure has already been approved by the Historic Districts Review Board. And also, as Daniel mentioned, we are within the downtown and east side historic district as depicted here. So over the last few years, the owner has gone through a status review with the Historic Districts Review Board on all of the structures on the site. So what you see here, the structures depicted in orange are considered contributing to the downtown and east side historic district. So any renovations, additions of these existing structures will require review and approval by the Historic Preservation Division. And depending on the degree and nature of the modifications may also require review and approval by the Historic Board itself. And the structures shown in gray are considered non-contributing. The renovation of these that creates a little more flexibility in terms of how renovations and additions are able to be implemented, but is still subject to the jurisdiction of the Historic Preservation Division. So this is our site plan. So we are basically taking this existing residential compound and creating separate fee simple lots through the subdivision process. So the site is not going to change dramatically from what is experienced on the property today. There is a lot of lovely mature vegetation that we have gone to great lengths to preserve. As I mentioned previously, we have 2 access points. The main access point is off of Bishop's Lodge Road, and we have secondary access via an easement across the neighboring property to the south, directly out to Old Taos Highway. We are proposing some infrastructure improvements as part of the subdivision that include a replacement of the on-site private sewer system and the improvements to the on-site roadway. We are adding sidewalk improvements. You can see in kind of the turquoise blue here. We are adding new sidewalks where we worked this was a very granular effort to determine, because we do have some retaining walls and some grade changes. And, we have existing site constraints, and some of the walls are historic themselves, that so we can't modify them. So we worked really hard to establish an appropriate pedestrian circulation within the compound. So you can see the new sidewalks that we're doing here and providing crosswalks where it is necessary to cross the street in order to continue on the pedestrian path. And we are also providing, improving a pocket park for the community. There is, as part of the subdivision, we are creating one vacant lot that will, so a new home will be constructed on this vacant lot in accordance with historic district regulations. We are also providing opportunities for some on-street guest parking. So you can see there's some rows of parking here, there's some parking here, and we have some other opportunities here, as well as here at the rear where the garage building will be demolished. Let me see if there's anything else critical to point out here. I think, and I'm happy to come back to this slide because this really is kind of the meat of the request, so to speak. So as I mentioned, there are 27 existing structures. We are converting the fourplexes to duplexes, which basically would be 8 homes that would have an attached guest or accessory dwelling unit or mother-in-law unit, if you will, as part of that dwelling. And then, of course, the creation of the one vacant lot. So we have a total of 30 dwellings. And the planned improvements, as I mentioned, is the park, the roadway upgrades, the sidewalks, the sewer system. We also are doing some drainage improvements, the guest parking, upgrading some site fencing. And the city of Santa Fe is actually planning a replacement of the existing public water line on the property as well. So in accordance with the Santa Fe Homes program, there will be 6 out of the 30 dwellings will be priced affordably. As you can see here, based upon area median income as established by HUD. So this just gives you a sense of the pricing. This is still 2021 pricing. HUD has not issued AMI numbers for 2022 as of yet. So, the pricing will likely move a little bit. And we are working directly. We've had some outreach already with existing residents. And our goal is to convert as many of the existing residents to homeowners for those who are interested in purchasing a property as part of the project. And also really specifically with the affordable homes. And so I've actually was just exchanging emails with a resident earlier this week. We invited and encouraged everyone to reach out to HomeWise and the Santa Fe Santa Fe Community Housing Trust here in town to get pre-qualified to see who could qualify for potentially acquiring one of the affordable homes. So we are really excited about those opportunities. And that's really it. These are just the plans out of the submittal itself, which I can go through, but I'll go ahead and in the presentation there. And again, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. So this is a public hearing. If there's anybody from the public that would like to testify on this case, please raise your hand. The call-in Dan has their hand up. Anybody else? Okay, let's start with a call-in, Dan.
Mr. Chair, they just have to unmute themselves.
*9 should unmute you. If you press *9 on your phone, you should be unmuted and then you can be sworn in. They still muted? Yes.
They are still muted. Not on our side, it would be on their end.
Okay.
Oh, finally.
Perfect.
Hello?
We can hear you now. Let me get you sworn in and then you can.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So help me God, yes.
Great. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Penelope Perryman. My address is 109 Camino Matias, and it is within the 2 streets in this existing residential neighborhood. I see this process this evening as let's say a fait accompli, but I want to add the local color, which has been missing for those who do not know this neighborhood. It was constructed originally by the Presbyterian Church starting in 1950. It was on this plot of land. They planned to house returning missionaries from the foreign field and also pastors who never owned a house. And when they left their last church, they had no home. So these were built to house these individuals at affordable housing rates. It has never been privately owned since 1950. An unusual aspect of it in Santa Fe is that there are no walls between the front yard and the street. There are no walls except retaining walls between the houses. It was built to be a neighborhood community, and I look forward to it retaining that nature. It is a beautiful place to live, and I thank you for your consideration of this proposal.
Thank you, Ms. Perryman. Anybody else like to testify on this case? Please raise your hand.
I see no hands raised, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Going once. Twice. Seeing nobody, I will close the public portion of this case and turn it over to the commission. Commissioners? Commissioner Pava, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This may be addressed to Mr. Alvarado or perhaps to Ms. Jenkins. Regarding the guest houses, could you elaborate a little bit about guest houses and under what circumstances these may be subject to the short-term rental ordinance? I'd like to know, I'm curious to understand a little bit more about whether they are guest houses or accessory dwelling units, or they are short-term rental potential, or does that matter?
I would be happy to address that, Chair and Commissioner Pava. So we have some buildings that are currently a fourplex. So there's 4 individual, basically kind of apartments, if you would. So we're going to convert those fourplexes into essentially two primary dwellings with an attached accessory dwelling. Okay. So, and we really like that as a model. We think that's a great type of housing stock to offer for someone who might want the extra income of a renter, or someone who has an aging parent they would like to have live with them. We think that's a really nice, something great to offer within the marketplace. And possibly one or two of our affordable units is going to be one of those. And Alexandra Ladd was really excited about that opportunity to provide those types of units on the affordable side as well. So as far as guest house or ADU, those terms are somewhat interchangeable. As far as the city code, they use accessory dwelling unit as a term of art. That's a defined term. But guest house is sort of the same, but it's not detached. It's all under one roof. It just happens that, they're going to have 2 kitchens instead of 1. There'll be 2 living spaces and, 2 bedrooms. And so it just provides that kind of, flexibility in living options. With respect to short-term rentals, that, anybody who wanted to pursue that is going to be subject to those licensing requirements of the city. And we are also developing, and there's going to be a homeowners association here, and because we'll be maintaining the sewer system, maintaining the roads on site or private. And so it's going to be one of these things, is this homeowners association, how are they going to want to regulate that? Because some homeowner associations don't permit short-term rentals, right? So it's one of those things that we're going to be, setting up those kind of initial rules and regulations, but then this community is going to kind of self-govern that and decide how they want to regulate that going forward.
And if I can add on the short-term rental front, Commissioner Pava, it is subject to the short-term rental ordinance, which requires any residentially zoned property to receive a permit for short-term rental. In addition, any residentially zoned property has to be more than 50 feet from each other for short-term rental. So there's going to be additional restrictions on short-term rentals on this site.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alvarado and Ms. Jenkins. Those addressed my question.
Thank you, Commissioner Pava. Commissioners, any other commissioners? I see no hands. If somebody would like to make a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion. Commissioner Clow, I will move the approval of the final development plan in case number 2021-4248, subject to the conditions of approval and technical corrections recommended by staff. And I'll also recommend the approval of the final subdivision, subject to the conditions in case number 2021-4249, subject to the conditions of approval and technical corrections recommended by staff.
I will second Commissioner Lawrence.
I mean, those are both 4548 and 4549.
Yes.
Not 4245. Could you amend your motion, please?
Oh, hold on a minute. I'm looking.
I'm seeing
at
4248 and 42.
Yeah, I'm seeing 4248 and 4249.
There might have been some typos there, but the correct number is 4548 and 4549.
Oh, okay. Then that's fine. Yeah, there's some typos in there.
Second, as corrected.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. If we can get a roll call, please.
Yes. Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
And I'll move the findings of facts and conclusions of law in 2021-4548 and 2021-4549
Second.
that are attached as Exhibit A1 and Exhibit A2 to the report.
Thank you. We have a motion by Secretary Clow, a second by Commissioner Lawrence. If we can get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Evening. Moving on, we're on staff communications. Director Klug, Mr. Escobar. Anybody have anything?
Mr. Chair, we do have a case coming up for the January 20th PC meeting, and you will also have a very heavy schedule for the February 3rd meeting. So I just want to make you aware of that.
Noted. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Dan. I didn't have anything, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Director. Matters from the commission. Any commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to give an update on the policy committee. If it's just gonna be really quick.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're kind of on hold because of the election and the new administration and new hires in the planning department. I think we'll probably be targeting sometime beginning February, mid-February to pick up activity again. I will know more on one of our initiatives. I will know more about that by the next meeting. But for now, we're on hold until the administration has the ability to get its house in order.
Thank you for the update, Commissioner Buckner. Any other commissioners?
And I have one other thing. The legislative session is starting. And so I'm just going to caution staff that I'm not sure about my ability to attend. The meetings is going to be dependent on what is happening at the legislature.
Thank you. Director Klug, the letters of interest are due when for new commissioners?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The advertisement ends on January 14th, I believe, which is next Friday.
Okay. And so do you think they might round something up before the end of the month? Has there been any talk about it or?
We'll have to review those, and we were actually contemplating having the policy subcommittee potentially help with that review, just to utilize their expertise and also to shore up our current capacity challenges. And then yes, hopefully we will have those new commissioners and reappointments in place by mid-February at the latest.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other commissioners? Mr. Alvarado, welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you want to give us a 30-second overview of who you are and where you came from.
Yeah, sure. If you'd like. Again, my name's Daniel Alvarado. I'm originally from San Antonio, Texas. I'm coming here from Austin, where I got my graduate degree in community and regional planning. I've worked mostly in the private sector, but most of my clients have been public sector. So I've got a lot of different experience, a lot of long-term planning experience and transportation planning. I served on the Urban Transportation Commission actually in Austin for many years. So I'm familiar being on the other side of this kind of meeting. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited. I know this is a difficult time with a lot of transition going on, but I think it's been a great experience, and I love the position so far.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure.
If I don't see any other commissioners, we are adjourned. Everybody stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you on the 20th. Good night.
Right.